So here I started from the basics about the computer networking. As you are the computer students, all of you know this, what is mean by computer networking. Still, I start with this computer networking, that it is nothing but the base by which we are connected with each other and able to communicate. Still, right now, we are communicating with each other by using this computer networking, and due to this computer networking we are able to uh, conduct this webinar, and we are so far away from each other, and by keeping the distancing we are able to share our knowledge using this computer networking. Some basics of networking I would like to share with you before starting the advanced network programming. We start with the topology. What is mean by topology? Topology is the structural design of communication model depicted physically or logically. Now this physical topology is the placement of various components of network. It includes the device location and cable installation. For example, here I consider the LAN, which has one or more physical links to other devices in the network. Here the diagram is given. In this you are observing these links are represented by the line, and graphically this mapping these links results in a geometric shape that can be used to describe the physical topology of the network. All of you are familiar with this topology, computer network topology. It may be star, bus topology, mesh topology. By using this, we are able to communicate with each other, but it requires the physical connection between each and every device of this network. Now, the second part of this topology is the logical topology. Here, the protocols are the parts of the logical topology. The numerous number of protocols are there under this logical topology. Means, what are these protocols? Protocols are nothing but the rules which are used to share the resources between the users who are spread in wide area. That area depends on the type of the network. Here I use some examples: ICMP, IPX, SPX, NetBIOS, NW-Link, IPX, SMTP. The students from the MSc are more familiar with this protocols, but I am doubtful that whether they know that these protocols are nothing but the logical topology of the network. Some other logical topology are POP3, Post Office Protocol 3, FTP, TFTP, HTTP, and I'm skipping all the detailed explanation here because this is the some basics of the computer network. And from the first year up to the graduation and post graduation level, you know these all things. Another logical topologies are HTTPS, DHCP, Telnet, SSH, ARP, RARP, and this is the basics of your computer networking. Means physically how the computer devices or the another devices communicate with each other comes under the physical topology, and how they are connected to each other, how they will share the information between each other, it is defined by the logical topology. This is the basics of computer networking. And now what the things will be under the advanced networking? I'm going to discuss all these things here one by one. The very first thing which is required in this advanced networking is the router. and switch. Now this router, what is this? It is a device. It, this device is defined the router of the data. How it works? It reads the packet and filter the packets. Then it works on the IP address networks. It manages all traffic inside the router. Just for example, uh, now all of we are the part of this network. In between us, here I am the source person. I'm the source node who distribute or sharing the PPT present on my device, on my laptop. And all of you are getting this PPT on your own devices. Some of you are accessing the computers, some of you are accessing these PPTs through the mobile devices, some of by using the laptops. The devices are different, but still we are able to share the same content. And for this all things, for this sharing, the router is used. Now actually the network is big. From my side, the information goes from my node. It is pass over to the switch, then pass over to the routers, and then it is spread out towards the you. Again, from your side, there is a router, and from your own router, it is spread, it is distributed up to you. And all these works is done by this routers. The next thing here, it is a switch. Now switch is a computer networking device that connects the devices together on a computer by using packet switching to receive, process and forward the data to the destination device. This is the detailed thing how the data is spread through the one source to the another destination. And the switch performs the important role while delivering the contents or resources from one location to the another, means from source to the destination. Then next thing is here IP addressing and subnetting at IP addressing, which is required to distribute the data from source to destination between the various different nodes. Now, how the network comes to know that who is sending the data, who are the which are the devices accessing this data. So for all these things, this IP addressing and subnetting IP addresses are used. The very first thing, internet protocol address. We call it as a IP address. It is nothing but the numerical label assigned to each and every device. For example, for computer, for printer, for your mobile, for laptops, for likewise, which are participating in the computer network that uses the internet protocol for the communication. There are the types of IP addresses, IPv4 and IPv6. We will see these IPv4 and IPv6 in detail afterwards. Before that, the another thing which is required for the network programming, it is the subnetting. Now, this subnetting is the process of division of IPs into subparts. We require subnetting in order to reduce the cost. For example, here, suppose we want to buy the 100 IPs and each having cost of 260. So the total cost will be 260, that is the cost multiplied by the number of IPs, that is 100. So it will be 26,000. But through subnetting, we need only single IP, which is divided through subnetting into different IPs as belows. Means for 100 IPs, instead of investing the 26,000, we are able to get it by using a simple single IP, as we are going to divide it into the different parts. It is divided into the 4 parts. For example, here I use the 4 parts, that is 192.168.1.0. This will be your main IP, and this one will provide the another 99, or we can say that 100. How? So the next IP will be 192.168.1.1. The next will be 192.168.1.2, and so on. And in this way, we obtain the 100 IPs by using a single IP, by minimizing the cost. Now here we observe the I said some 192.68.1.0. What are these things? So these are the IP addresses, and these are divided, these are obtained by using the concept of the classes. Now basically there are the 5 types of classes named as A, B, C, D and E. Each of this class requires the 4 bytes. All of you observe that 192 are here. Again show 192.168.1.0. These are the 4 bytes. And how these values are represented here, and which values are here to represent the which thing, it will be clear in this concept of classes. Now here observe that for first class A, the first byte, that is 192 here in our example, it represents the net ID. This which network we are using, it is represented by some digits. In this example, I use the 192. So the first byte represents the net ID, and the remaining here, if the net we are using the network of type class A, all the remaining 3 bytes, that is the byte 2, byte 3 and byte 4, represent the host ID. In class B network, byte 2 and byte 1, byte 3 and byte 4 are used to represent the host type. In class C type, byte 1, byte 2, byte 3, these 3 are used to represent the net ID, and the 4th byte is used to represent the host ID. And in class D, multicast addresses are used, and class E are reserved for specific purpose. Mostly these class A, B and C are used by the network users. Now the another part comes under this advanced network programming is router. So I will try to give the information in short about this writing and routers again. Now routing, it is nothing but allocating the suitable and appropriate path by the router to the message packets from source to the destination. Just I told the example of this meeting that here I am sending the message files, I am sharing the files, I am sharing the audio, I am sharing the video, and it comes towards you. But some of you may find the problems while assessing this meeting. Some are not able to hear the voice clearly. Some are not able to observe the PPTs. Means the net is going on and off. So that due to that the disconnection may be there. And while all these things, the route is find out to forward, to pass the information, the files, the resources from source to the destination. The these routers done all these things. It is used to give the root in the network for sharing these resources. Just I told that the resources are files, audios, videos, etc. Now there are the two types of routing. The first one is the static routing and the second one is the dynamic routing. Now, as the name indicates, static routing, everything is fixed there. For example, here it uses the manual IP configuration for provide the routes between the network. It is used in all small scale networks. Just it may be present in your lab. There the IP configuration is done manually, and all of you are using the static routing there. That is the example of your static routing. So another one is all these things, all the devices in a lab are directly attached to the network and their IP configuration is done manually. The advantages of the static routings are they are fast for accessing and they are effective. Moreover, they have the control over the selective path. They have the less overload for the router. As the why all these advantages are there? Because the number of nodes in the computer networks are fixed. And due to this fixed and limited access, limited sharing of the resources, the sharing becomes the fast. It is effective sharing. It has a specific path, and due to this, the fast sharing will be there, and obviously there is the less overload for the router because the router know everything in advance that where it has to share the information and what will be the path and etc. But there are some disadvantage of static routing. There is a more overhead on the administrator, that how many devices are connected there, what will be the IP addresses for them, like that. And the load balancing is not easily possible in the static routing. The another one is your default routing. In this, the route for the network is fixed. It is freely defined. And the next type of routing, it is the dynamic routing. It is very simple and fast to implement. It is, we have in this dynamic routing, we have to write only directly attach entire network. All of we are using the dynamic routing. Some of the students are leaving this webinar. Some teachers are there who may be join, who may leave this webinar. And within this computer networking, the nodes are getting added and removed or deleted. And for such a type of things, the dynamic routing is used by the computer network. Now, in recently, the current trends in the computer networking are listed here. So many trends are there nowadays in the computer networking, but it is not possible to explain all these things here. I use some trends to explain in front of you, and that are OSI model, TCP/IP protocol, IPv4, IPv6, I88802. I think all of you are familiar with these names. Some topics are in the graduation level, some are in the post-graduation level. So I try to give the knowledge about these things. The very first thing is OSI model. This OSI model stands for Open System Interconnection. It offers a networking framework to implement protocols in layer. Here, the 7 layers are there, and that's why the name is also referred as the 7-layer OSI reference model. The very first layer is your physical layer, then data link layer, the network layer, transport layer, session layer, and the application layer. This it provides the end-to-end user applications using the protocols like HTTP, FTP, and SMTP. The functioning of the presentation layer, it looks like the syntax along with encryption and decryption to the application layer above it. After that, there is a session layer. This session layer manages the events and keep the events in sequence. Also, it supports the multiple types of connections. The transport layer is then, this layer actually transfers the data over the network by using the TCP protocol. Then this transported data will be handled by the network layer. This checks whether the data has been reached to the destination or not. How it checks? So it examines the source and the destination address and pass over towards the another network nodes. And finally, there is the data link layer. This layer checks the error in data along with the MAC addresses, and it turns bits into data frames. This OSI model is different than the TCP/IP model. Here it is the TCP/IP model. This TCP/IP model, it has the predefined rules to access the internet with interconnections. It is the communication protocol in which there is a host who has access to the internet. TCP/IP, this provides the end-to-end data transmission between the devices, besides providing the functionality like addressing, mapping, and the acknowledgement. The TCP and IP, we both call it together. It seems like a single name, TCP/IP, but it is the combination of the two protocols, transmission control protocol and the internet protocol. The functioning of this TCP is, it controls the transmission of messages by dividing them into packets, and the IP controls the transmission of these packets from sender to the receiver. Simply, if you doesn't understand this TCP and IP in the technical language, then it will be better to understand the functioning of the posting the mail manually. आपण आता सगळं इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली डेटा सेंड करतो, व्हॉट्सअपनी मेसेज करतो, मोबाईलवरती कॉल करतो, ईमेल्स करत असतो. तर काही वर्षापूर्वी आपण हाताने पत्र लिहायचे, वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे पत्र असायचे, ते लेटर्स. एक कागद असायचा, त्यावर आतमधून लिहायचं, त्याला फोल्ड करावं लागायचं. फोल्ड केल्यानंतर त्याला काहीतरी गम वगैरे फेविकॉल लावून चिपकवायचं, त्याच्यावर ऍड्रेस टाकायचा आणि नंतर ते पोस्ट बॉक्स मध्ये टाकायचं. आणि दुसरा प्रकार होता पोस्ट कार्डचा. पोस्ट कार्ड मध्ये मॅटर पण विजिबल होतं आणि ऍड्रेस, जो डेस्टिनेशन असेल त्याचा ऍड्रेस पण असायचा. आता इथं TCP IP आणि TCP IP चा काय संबंध आहे? So whatever you return as a text in your letter of the network is possible to observe here. We are able to analyze the problem, and the very cute thing is here the visualization of this networking, which is not possible in really. So this network simulator is one of the best thing to uh, handle and handle the network programmings. And the next thing and the last topic which I am going to explain here, it is the network security. As anyone is able to add into the get into the network and out of the network, there may be the problem of security in various things. Now this network security is nothing but the set of rules defined to ensure the safety of the personal network or the private network. This network security includes the security about the physical hardware devices. Also, it means the software security. It provides the authorized access to the network through the use of the IDs and password. I again use the example of our meeting that we provide the user ID and the password to attend this lecture uh, through this webinar. Then whenever the user tries to access the network, user has to give the ID and password. This prevents the malicious user enter into the network and to avoid from hacking the network. Now in this network, there are the different types of hacking network attacks, active attack and the passive attack. In this type of attack, a hacker tries to alter the data while it is being sent from one node to the another. And in passive attack, the outsider monitors the system of the organization consistently and tries to find the vulnerable ports in the network and to enter into the network. Uh, Different network security tools are there: Wireshark, AirCrack, Netcat, Backtrack, Sport, etc. We can use the security tools to avoid from the hacking. And one of the type of the security is the cryptography. Cryptography is defined as the science of maintaining privacy of confidential data. The main objective of this cryptography is confidentiality, integrity, and authentication of data transferring all over the network. It uses the method to keep the data private, that is the encryption method and decryption method. The plain text is converted into some other part which is known as the cheaper text. It is the method of your encryption, and in decryption the converted text, that is the cheaper text translated back. Algorithms are used symmetric key and asymmetric key. In symmetric, both the sender and the receiver share the same key for the encryption and decryption, while in asymmetric, both the user have different keys for encryption and the decryption. So, up to these things, I try to cover major parts in the advanced network program. It is not possible to cover in detail in this limited time, but still I try to get the revision or provide the introductory part of the advanced network programming topics. Now here just a list is provided for you that to know that how the networking, computer networking is important, interested and demanded nowadays. Some major areas is security. Now in this security, a lot of types of securities are there: network security, cyber securities, technography, data security, product security, key distribution. Likewise, another one is data center networking, in which the data is the main focused item, main focus part in this networking, which contains the cloud computing, applications through the internet, that is like the Google Docs, then backup and storage through the internet, replicated cloud storage, cloud services, then data replication, likewise. Then another are energy networking. Under this energy networking, ad hoc networks, wireless space network, wireless sensor network, body sensor are very important in this COVID-19 problem, that we are able to measure the temperature of the we are able to detect the what we can say test by using this body sensor networks, and able to cure the patient and able to prevent by the infection of this disease. Then underwater sensor networks are there, on fly networks are there nowadays, airy networks are there. ANET is referred, it is referred as a ANET, aerial network, in which the devices are present in the air and through them we are able to communicate with each other. Another is mobile and wireless networking. Mobile cloud computing security is ad hoc mobile networks, that is the IoT. It is also important research area in the advanced network programming. Another is next generation internet, in which there is the intrusion detection system, image net, social based routing, human trust and security in social networks. Another one is the software defined networking. These are the new things for you, that in software defined networking, the control plane and also data plane separation is there. Multi-tenants also in data centers. Then some of the communications in IoT are Internet of Robotic Things, Industrial of Vehicles, and Industrial Internet of Things, etc. And one of the networking is cloud computing networking. In this there is a infrastructure as a service, then mobile CC, MCC in 5G, EVPN uses the computer networking. Likewise, so many areas are there which are very interested and needful nowadays to consider, to study, to get a deeper knowledge into it. And I think through this my lecture you get satisfied from the basic computer networks up to the advanced network programming uh, belonging to your syllabus, and also which are the upcoming topics and needful topics according to today's situation in terms of medical sciences, in education and everywhere. So thank you very much to all of you for listening this lecture on advanced network programming. If you have any problem, you can ask me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe and healthy.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, sir.
We are.
Hello.
Thank you, ma'am. We are grateful of you for working as a resource person and delivering an informative and up-to-date lecture on advanced computer networking to encourage the PG students and faculty. I am sure that your inspiring talk will definitely boost the confidence of my students as well as faculty members. Thank you, madam. If anyone has question, then raise hand in chat box. Otherwise, send a message in chat box. Yes, participants. JSC Thakre. Deepak. Yes, JSC Thakre. Yes, participants. Yes, Aishwarya.
Yes, so hi ma'am, Ashwin class. So my question is, currently we are following the manual entering IP addresses process. So is there any protocol which did this process automatically, is automatically filling of IP addresses?
Ma'am, you understand?
Yes, yes.
Hello ma'am, I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible. And there are routing protocols who there is no need to enter the IP address manually in MANET. In MANET, there are routing protocols AODV, DSDV, TORA, just I told. In that, there is no need of manually entering the IP addresses. Just we have to initialize the first node, that is the host node, and afterward it itself get the IP addresses assigned to each and every node which are going to join there in that network.
Ma'am, next question is from Mangesh Kumar Yadav. What is the difference between wireless sensor network and managed network? Hello.
In nodes has the capability to sense the data in various terms, that is temperature, they can sense the humidity. That nodes or the devices which are able to sense these things are the part of the network that becomes the nodes of the network. In case of managed, it is not compulsion to that each and every device has this sensing capability. That is your laptop, mobile. The laptop and mobile doesn't has the sensing capacity. Where as in for example temperature sensing, if you consider the smartwatch having the wireless sensor network and the wireless managed.
Hello. One question from Salman Lange. इनको PPT share करना मैडम. Please share your. Please send your pictures on my email ID after completion of lecture. Yes, anybody have a question?
सर कंक्लूड करा.
Yes. Students, faculty members, ma'am, one question from Mangesh Kumar Yadav. Which is
Yes.
most secure in wireless sensor networks and managed network? Which is most secure?
Most secure, uh, according to my practical work, I found that the AODV protocol in the MANET is the most secure, which I found while my research work.
Okay.
Ad hoc on-demand protocol.
Achha. Yes, anybody have a question? Participant? Okay, ma'am. So,
Okay,
thank you,
thank
madam.
you.
So, on behalf of our Honorable Dr. D.R. Patil, sir, I thanks to today's resource person, Dr. GOURI Patil, madam, for delivering his nice talk, giving his valuable time. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Our session is over.
Thank you very much.